DiLab, a company inventing the future of automated blood sampling. Instead of using manual blood sampling on animals, it is now possible to use the AccuSampler. This film will show you how it all works. With the AccuSampler standard system from DiLab, the blood sampling procedure can be made more efficient and accurate. It will also increase the total sample throughput in different preclinical trials. For optimal performance, several AccuSampler instruments can be used simultaneously. Up to 8 instruments are managed from one computer. All the necessary software is installed by DiLab when setting up the instruments. In DMPK studies, for example, several samples are taken when plotting concentration in blood over time. The animal's welfare is essential for quality results. A rat in its natural environment is unconstrained in its mobility and curious of its surroundings. When sampling blood, it is important that the animals are as unaffected as possible, especially if you want to measure substances that are affected by stress hormones. Before sampling blood, the rat is operated on to place a catheter in the animal. This is done with microsurgery, and DiLab also offers educational training courses to train the team in this part of the procedure. After surgery, the catheter and animal are linked to the instrument via a harness. Samples can now be taken without the animal noticing. And even if the animal is sleeping, a sample can be taken without waking it. There are several ways to take blood samples from the animal. Either the femoral or the jugular vein is used. Samples can also be taken from an artery or even different vessels simultaneously if needed, with a dual sampling system. Thanks to a movable spiral and a flexible balance arm, the animal can move freely and is not aware of the link to the instrument. When using the AccuSampler, several options are available. For example, an infusion pump can be used simultaneously to inject the test substance over time via the swivel. Your DiLab representative can give you more information about how to set up the system to meet your demands. A rat can be used for several weeks in this setup, and it is also possible to use the same animal for both intravenous and oral administration. The sampling starts by taking a zero sample. This is done to check everything prior to the study. With a pressure sensor, the welfare of the animal is monitored and the performance of the instrument is verified. After the zero sample, the study starts, for example by administering a drug to the animal intravenously. The AccuSampler uses a technique where air bubbles in the tubing system prevent the blood from mixing with the saline solution. With the AccuSampler standard, it works like this. Blood is taken from the animal. An air bubble is positioned in the tubing system. The blood sample is set in position between 2 air bubbles and can now be moved in the tubing without mixing with saline solution. The blood not needed for the sample is given back to the animal. And the blood sample is collected in a vial. This is what the process looks like. With AccuSampler standard, volumes from 25 microliters up to more than a milliliter can be taken. Sample time depends on the volume sampled. The AccuSampler technique allows multiple samples to be taken within a very short period of time. Several vials can be positioned in one sample rack. With the cooling system, the temperature is kept at about 5 degrees Celsius. The samples are now ready for analysis. Between samples, the system is cleaned with saline solution to minimize carryover. Cleaning of catheters also compensates for the animal's loss of blood to prevent dehydration. The AccuSampler compensates for the amount of blood lost with the same amount of saline solution. When setting up a trial with AccuSamplers, the software automatically records the data. All you need to do is to choose the species of animal, the intervals for sampling, and the volumes to be taken. If volumes smaller than 25 microliters are needed, DiLab offers the AccuSampler Micro. Together with your DiLab representative, the instruments can be set up for special needs. One application for use beyond rodents and for sampling larger blood volumes is a special application called AccuSampler Standard for large animals. In this setup, a longer balance arm is used to reach the animal. In summary, the use of AccuSampler Standard will increase the sample throughput 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, resulting in cost effectivity, give greater accuracy in sampling volumes and timing, and improve compliance with the 3R guidelines, especially to reduce the number of animals used. DiLab, inventing the future of automated blood sampling.